Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is David Wade reporting to you live for our last Photoshop lesson of the year. Today I'm going to be showing you two cool tools to use that are really very powerful tools that can help provide the finishing touches on your final projects. We're going to begin with a new adjustment filter called curves. And with this particular tool, what you can do is you can easily change the light and dark values in any given project. So we have this beautiful photo of my son, which, by the way, I'm going to make some slight tweaks to before I jump in here, just because I think this could look better. We got this weird arm I'm going to be cropping out. I'll crop out the arm, and I'm also going to clean up some of the drool that we have here. I'll just use the spot healing brush for this. Yeah. Ugh. Kind of looks like a peeling scab now. All right, there we go. All right, so on to taking care of Mason. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go with the circle, black and white circle to create new adjustment layers. We're going to go to curves, and here we have the curves panel. And I stretched it out a little bit so you can see some changes. Basically for curves, you have basically a line graph going from black to white, black to white. So this is the amount of black and white in the photo. It's a bit darker than it is light. And this is also the amount that we're going to have in terms of brightness. So by clicking and dragging, we can make the bright lighter, and we can make the dark darker. Now, the reason why we want to do this is just to offer a little bit of additional contrast in the photo. It tends to make things look clearer and sharper. For instance, adjusting it, I've kind of taken out this kind of hazy layer of light, and it just looks a bit better. I'll change it a little bit more. And of course, you don't need to put the dots here. You can put them anywhere you want. But yeah, this is the dark side, this is the light side, and you can drag them up or down according to how much you want. So, looks pretty good. All right, the next thing that we're going to be looking at today is the Liquify filter. Now, this is really the tool, I would say, that gives Photoshop a bad rap in the media, certainly as it relates to the presentation of the human body. So I have this, I'm deselecting the background to make it JPEG. All right, so we have this very natural model, a healthy, normal looking person, but with the power of Photoshop, we can change bodies. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to Filter, then we're going to go down to Liquify, and I'm going to be changing this to make this person look thinner, as magazines do all the time. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Freeze Mask tool, and what this will allow me to do is to freeze any elements of the photo that I don't want warped or changed or stretched in any way. I'm also going to be doing this to her face because her arms will be adjusted a little bit, and I don't want her face to change. All right, so I click on this top icon here, the forward warp tool. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the size of this to about around 200 to make a bigger brush. The smaller brush, as you'll see, is going to make it. Okay, so what I've done here is I'm clicking and dragging her arm in. And I took a little bit of the top, which I didn't want. And I'm clicking and dragging in, clicking and dragging in. Okay, so as you see there, I've already kind of significantly changed her arm. Now, to better illustrate this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer so we can see a before and after. And I should do that with all of them. All right, so I'm going to go back to Liquify. I'll just do what I did before, freezing face. And really, I don't really need to freeze the flowers because, well, I'll freeze the flowers anyway. Freezing flowers. So the brush is kind of big. Okay, so once again, and on my PC version of this, you could see the middle of this brush. I don't know why it's not giving it here. Okay, and we're going to move in the legs. And for the leg, maybe I'll make the brush a little bit bigger because the legs are longer. Okay, so I'm just clicking and dragging in. Ugh, the bottom is, there we go. Do the arm, and the brush is a bit too big, but whatever. Okay, now I'm going to make the brush smaller, come in on this side, giving her a lot more waist. By the way, this particular tool is very popular in wedding photography. Brides love this sort of thing. And certainly it is very common in magazines and advertising. Okay, so very different. Let's go click OK. All right, so just to illustrate the power of this, before, after, yeah, it's pretty strong. All right, we're going to move on to some other tools. So we just made someone thinner. Right now we're going to make someone thicker. My good friend Vladimir Putin has volunteered for this. I'm going to be duplicating the layer again just to show the before and after. Then I will be going to, once again, up here to filter, Liquify. All right, so this is kind of a smaller photo. We do have a desk and some flags that will be freezing. We don't want to warp the paper. This flag is going to be a bit of a problem, but we're just going to roll with that. All right, so as I said, we will be kind of bulking up Putin because that would be just kind of fun and interesting. So I'm going to be begin with his arms. And what the Liquify tool is doing is it's just moving pixels around. And once you start playing around with this, you can see that you can really warp and distort anything in an image. I'll get the shoulders. Whoa, there's, no, I don't like that. I'll make the shoulders bigger. Okay, here we go. Or hulking. Oops, you see what I did there? The shoulders are starting to affect his face. I don't want that, so I'm going to paint his face frozen. It's also important to get his ears, because his ears can get freaky if you don't control the ears. Okay, there we go. Back to bulking him up. Ugh, I got part of his face. Oh well. Stretch him out. Get more mass. Okay, so this particular part of his suit is getting all warpy and weird, but I don't care, you get the idea. And as I said, this flag is kind of also kind of melting. But I don't think he cares. I'm not in love with that muscle, but whatever. Okay, so we'll click OK. And suddenly, very different before and after. All right, so the last thing that we're going to do is just kind of show how you can use this to cartoonish effects. We'll be making some adjustments to Mr. Abraham Lincoln. Filter, Liquify. And by the way, there are a lot more settings that are available to you depending on your computer. You might have this face-aware Liquify. This is available on my Mac, but my PC isn't strong enough to do this. But yeah, you can go ahead and like change the shape of the eyes. You can do any number of things. Yeah, instead of playing around with this directly though, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the tool as we've used it so far. So I'm zooming in and I'm just going to change the expression on his face, his mouth. Okay, so there's that. I'll change the size down. More of a Mona Lisa smile. Okay, yeah. Okay, and of course, we can do any number of things with the filter to make it more cartoony. I mean, just by clicking and dragging any part of it, we can make it more melted. So yeah, there's real opportunity here to make this more of a cartoony thing. Or you could also just change the dimensions of a face to the point that it becomes kind of unrecognizable and yet weirdly realistic. Okay, so that does it for our last two tools, curves and Liquify. These are very powerful tools to offer finishing touches on any photo, but you should also definitely be using it on your final project. All right, so that's it. Thank you very much.